Since we are about a month away from the release of the new expansion, I think it is safe to take a look at Secrets of the Obscure and see if the new model adopted by arenanet works or not from the player's perspective, and also what to expect from Jantir Wilds. Compared to End of Dragons, Secrets of the Obscure released at a smaller scale initially and with a lower price. But instead of having seasonal content before the next expansion, which would be given for free when it launched and then needed to be bought by new players, they changed it so that all the smaller content added with the quarterly releases is available for all players that have bought the expansion. Which I think is a good thing, because when Guild Wars 2 launched on Steam, it was crazy, as people did not know which expansion to buy, or if they bought all of them, they would still miss the Living World episodes. I know arenanet tried to mitigate this by adding a special pack for Steam that included the Living World stories too, but this was still a talking point for people that didn't bought that version. Now things should make a lot more sense for new people. Now getting back to the scale of Secrets of the Obscure, let's talk about the maps. We had two maps at launch, each with its own meta, and then a third one was added in small parts with each of the quarterly updates. I think overall the maps delivered a great PvE experience, especially the first two maps. I think the verticality on those is awesome, and only bad part was the frame rate drops in some places. The third map was on a totally different theme compared to the first two to match the story and bring a balance with light and darkness for the whole expansion. But it was delivered in three updates. It took away from the impact that it could have had. Maybe with the new expansion we can have a full map that evolves after updates, like we had in the past with Living World Season 1, and after the end it would remain in that state, like Kessex Hills. So overall, 3 maps per expansion I think is fine, since there will be more people in one place that you can do events with, and the world doesn't feel empty a year or two later. Let's move on to general improvements, like the Wizard's Vault replacing the daily and weekly achievements. I think this was a great addition to Guild Wars 2 and a way for people to get some nice skins and quality of life items, like build templates, legendary starter kits, upgrade extractors, and even gold. I doubt we will have anything new similar to the Wizard's Vault in Jantir Wilds, but we do not really need another system. There are plenty already in the game, so as long as the vault is updated, we should be good. And in the general improvements category, we also had the rework to the rune system along with the addition of a new trinket, which is the relic slot, that had the secondary role of adjusting the market too, as that thing is expensive. And speaking about expensive things, we also had the new legendary armor, which can be acquired through open world instead of raiding like we already had. We can also talk about mounts. The sky scale was initially added with Living World Season 4, and it became one of the best mounts in the game. Then the SoTO maps with their large open world space and great verticality made acquiring this mount a must if you wanted to move quickly. So the sky scale was added as part of the expansion too, which made a lot of sense for new players or even old players that did not want to grind for it. And it looks like this trend is going forward since the new/old improved mount for Jantir Wilds is the Warclaw. Let's move on to class updates, which is a big category. SoTO was the first expansion that did not feature a new elite spec for each class. Instead, it added a new weapon, or dual weapons, but it also removed the restriction of using elite spec weapons only on that respective elite specialization. This created a big change in the meta, and also made some elite specs usable again. I think this one was a good change, as you do not always need a new spec. A new weapon can do the trick and will give a new role to an existing elite spec. Of course, balance patches have a role in it too. And it looks like the weapons will be again the main class change for Jantir Wilds, as we will get to use spears on all classes. I guess this was done since each class can use a lot of weapons now, but I'm curious what will be the new class update after Jantir Wilds. Will we return to the new elite specs, or arenanet has something else in mind? Let's move on to the marketing, since it will be a short one. I think the marketing for SoTO was awful. I mean, yes, they paid some content creators to cover the game, but there were very few videos officially posted by arenanet to showcase the new stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, I know content creators can bring in a lot of new people, but if you're trying to sell this expansion in the future as well, those content creators most probably moved on to a different game now. And I'm talking about the ones that cover lots of games, not the ones that focus on Guild Wars 2. And the final part that I will go over is the story. I think the story went in the right direction and needed a refresh after the Dragon Saga. But the delivery after the main release lacked a bit and was too much of fill this bar to progress to the next step. I really hope they think of something else for the next expansion because I'm not a fan of this version. So, in conclusion, I think the new model worked pretty well. The pricing was set accordingly and the content was great. Now it will be up to the next expansion to see if this model is sustainable for arenanet and if we will continue with the third expansion in a row. Let me know what you think about this model in the comment section below and if the old one with the expansion and living world made more sense. If you want to see more content like this, please let me know in the comment section below, and if you enjoyed the video, please click the like and subscribe buttons.